So there's one big mistake that a lot of filmmakers make at the beginning of their careers, myself very much included in this group. And that is the misconception that gear will make you better. And this is one of those lessons that even when you are told it, it's still hard to overcome and kind of get past. So I 100% do not subscribe to the idea that gear doesn't matter, but that gear is useless if you don't have the skills to use them. So when I first really started YouTube and getting more into commercial filmmaking, I basically sold all of my still photography gear and I went all in Blackmagic production 4K. It was definitely one of the more uniquely designed cameras at the time, but I was like, ooh, 4K, raw, shoots right onto a big SSD card. Like, you know, I just felt cool. See, and I quickly learned that when you try to go too big too soon, you end up spending a lot of money because that thing had a non-user replaceable, didn't come out, 90-minute internal battery. So then I got a cheap V-mount battery. I learned how fast cinema cameras eat that battery. Then I was like, okay, well, I need the most amount of battery. And so I bought a $650 Anton Bauer V-mount. Oh, you need monitors. Oh, I need a cage. Oh, I need a computer and extra hard drive spaces with terabytes and terabytes of data to store all this footage. And every step, every moment that I'm overcoming 100 hurdles that I just placed in front of myself is time that I am not spending actually learning and getting better at my craft. But as soon as I got the camera all built out, had the whole rig, computers ready to go, got the SSD in, and I started rolling, and I was like, this is going to be magical. I'm going to look like Steven Spielberg, Roger Deakins. No, not even close. Absolutely, some of the worst videos and worst footage I have ever shot were first produced with that camera. I took better video with my Nikon D800 stills camera that shot like 1080p, some crappy video, better than when I first got the Blackmagic. The Blackmagic had more potential, sure, but my skills were not there as a video filmmaker. And so yes, there is a time and a place to spend thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on video gear when your skill set is at the level to match that gear. So Christian and I wanted to do something today to kind of prove this point. And so when OnePlus sent me out their N10, and you guys know me, I only focus on the camera with phones. And I was like, all right, this is a $300 phone. And a couple weeks prior, you guys saw it, I did the N100 OnePlus phone, and that's like 180 bucks. I was like, you know, we just dropped this big Samsung video, and like, you know, I kind of want to change up the format. I don't want to just go out, shoot a bunch of sample footage. Like, let's see if we can actually make an ad. See, and then my lovely wife, Michelle, reminded me that I've been trying to do an aviation gin spec ad for a long time. And so I was like, all right, so I grabbed the bottle of aviation gin, and which has been sealed shut for probably 2 or 3 years now. I don't even think Ryan Reynolds owns aviation gin anymore. So whoops. I wanted to see what we could do with a $300 phone. To make it more difficult, both of our styles are dark and very contrasty and moody. And so we put this thing through not optimal lighting conditions whatsoever. And we just shot this simple sequence of creating a drink. Now, to be fair, I don't drink at all. So before you see this, you're not gonna see a professional mixologist or anything. So keep that in mind. But yeah, here you go. Check it out and we'll talk about it after. What'd you think? If you want to give us an A for effort, it would help me out a lot if you click that like button right now. It'd make me feel good about myself. I mean, this is the worst case scenario that you could probably create for a phone camera. You have near pitch black, so you have basically crushed all the shadows. Meanwhile, you have a super bright light source right above it, so your highlights are overexposed, and phones do not handle noise very well. Now, most of the time when I do these videos, I shoot in something like Filmic Pro or Bscript app because they have things like log and turn off different post-processing tools. But sometimes when you're in a really low light situation, it's better to use the built-in camera just because the post-processing that they apply is going to just work better than trying to shoot some sort of log mode that you then post-process. But for the most part, we're like, okay, we need to get this as close in camera as possible just using the stock camera app. And thankfully the OnePlus camera app is pretty standard. It does have a pro mode, but that is only for photos. So for video, we relied just on the tap to focus and then exposure lock. Now I gotta say, I'm impressed. But when we were looking at the footage, both on the camera and on the computer, we're like, okay, this looks pretty good. Even the 1080p slow motion shots, which is 1080p at 120. But yeah, and again, setting proper expectations, we created this ad being like, hey, let's create this ad for Instagram, for social media. So it is going to be viewed on a small screen. See, right now, I'm sure a lot of you are watching this video on your phone, but if you're on a computer, while that ad may not have looked super great, this is roughly the size of your phone screen, and therefore it makes the footage look a lot crisper. You don't notice the noise, you don't notice the weird color artifacting if there is any that pop up during different shots. Now, while we did solely use the phone to shoot this, we did have a couple little extra accessories. Again, we primarily used the Nanlite Mix 150 panel. We did try to use this, which again, if you're on a budget, this is like my new favorite budget light. This is the Nanlite PavoTube 2 6C, charges via USB-C. It's basically the super little brother to the 4-foot versions, but it has all the same modes. It's full RGB, it's got effects, so you do police lights, flash. But anyway, this light I think is like 89 bucks. I'll leave a link in the description for you guys. And then we used the Beast Grip Pro Cage. This just gave us a better grip on the phone. And then for the different slider shots, I used the Zpon Micro 2. This is just a really cool, nice little slider, really smooth, really compact, and it has nice feet on it. So just like that, little spider legs. And now we got a nice little slider going. Again, it's always hard for me not to use the absolute best equipment that I have. But to be honest, I like the fact that I didn't have the very best gear from day one. When my parents got me my first camera, which actually I unpacked it. It's right here. It's this little guy. This shoots on tape. But you see, when I use this, I learned the ins and the outs, the pros and cons, everything that this was good and not good at. And then I would set up situations that would allow me to create something fun and cool with it and my friends. When you're not focusing on your camera, you're focusing on learning lighting, sound design, editing. Big cinema cameras are really hard to move. When we were doing test shots and stuff, I just grabbed this little gimbal and we were able to do a bunch of different movements and tests with it. Whereas if I wanted to shoot on my Pocket 6K, I'd have to spend an hour rigging it up to like my Crane 3S and balancing and stabilizing. Throw it in like a $40 phone gimbal and you're good to go. There's something amazing when gear gets out of your way, and the OnePlus N10 really helped me see that. So thanks OnePlus for, again, sending out the phone and allowing me to test it. And thank you guys for watching the video. Let me know what you think of the phone overall down in the comments below. And of course, like I said, everything that we used in the video will be linked in the description down below. So what phone should I check out next? OnePlus, I think the OnePlus 9 is coming, and I would love to do a really cool, even better spec ad. I do have access to some really expensive rare cars, just saying. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.